Welcome to the PDA Parenting Podcast. This show will be dedicated to supporting parents raising kids with PDA autism. I'm your host, Amy Kotha, a parent coach and a mom to a PDAer myself. This podcast is here to provide you with practical insights, real-life experiences, and expert guidance to help you better understand your child and to parent from a place of connection, empathy, and understanding. Whether you're new to PDA or you're already familiar with the journey, you're in the right place. Hey friends, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about that voice in our heads, the one that says, you've got to fix this. You've got to fix your child. You know the one, right? It gets louder when things are hard, when your child's having constant meltdowns, and I think it's loudest when other people are watching. It says things like, you're not doing enough. You should know how to handle this. You should have the answers. What kind of parent are you? Believe me, I know that voice very, very well because for a long time, it ran my life. I honestly thought that if I could just learn enough, read the right book, meet the right therapist, find the right program, I didn't even care where it was. I was willing to travel anywhere to anyone and do anything to help my child. But I just thought if I could find it, maybe I could finally fix it. And I went all in. Like I researched like crazy. And I guess I don't do things halfway because I literally went back to grad school over this. I was so convinced that there had to be something more that I didn't know. And I really felt strongly that maybe it was something physiological because what I was seeing with my child, it didn't feel like she had a choice. It felt patterned or wired, like something was happening deep inside her body. So I worked on a clinical degree, and that gave me a really great new lens. It helped me understand that, yes, there are physiological and neurological layers here that we don't talk about enough. That brain-body connection is so real. I mean, it's just intertwined and you can't separate one from the other. The nervous system just feels like it's behind everything. But what I also learned, and this was humbling, is that there is not a fix. There isn't a single magic answer. The nervous system, the brain, behavior, it's all connected, it's all layered, and it is so much more complex than I had ever realized. What I figured out that I could do was to support the parts that I did understand. And I learned, to work with what I see rather than fighting against it. And that was really a big step. So here's the thing. Most of us have been taught that a child's behavior is a reflection of our parenting, right? That's what our society teaches us. We're conditioned with that. So when our child struggles, we're told things like, be firmer, be more consistent, use the reward chart, right? Crack down. And when we don't, the world judges us. Teachers, doctors, even some of our friends and family members are saying things like, are you going to let him get away with that? Or, you're spoiling her. Weren't you brought up differently? We didn't parent like this in my day. Believe me, I've heard it all. So, of course, we start to believe that if we can just fix the behavior, everything will be okay. And it keeps us trapped in a cycle. So the child struggles, we panic. We try to fix it. They feel controlled. They escalate and we panic even more and the loop keeps going, right? And we get trapped inside that loop. So after grad school, I realized that I was still missing something. I understood what I could, right, about the nervous system, but I didn't really understand behavior. So I continued my education in a coaching program in order to try to learn that piece, the why behind what we do. And here's the part that was both enlightening and not enlightening at the same time. Because when you really put all the pieces together, the brain, the body, the behavior, everything, one thing, safety. Safety seems to be the foundation. It's the common denominator for every human behavior. When we feel safe, we can connect. When we don't, everything falls apart. Without safety, we are in protection mode, and this has physiological elements as well as emotional. So if you look at it from an evolutionary lens, it's a little more obvious, maybe. Our nervous systems were literally designed to keep us safe. So every reaction, every meltdown, every avoidance, even the things that we call defiant behaviors, all of those things are ways of trying to protect ourselves. Our kids do it, we do it. So even when we know that we can't just fix it, it's hard sometimes to tune out all of this noise around us that is saying that we can fix, that we should, that we're causing harm by not. And that one really gets me. Sometimes those voices are so loud that we start to doubt ourselves. And why? Why? Because we're human. We thrive in community. We need community to survive. So if it feels like we're not being accepted by a part of our community, it sets off our protection mode, our survival instincts, our stress responses. So even when we know best methods of parenting are PDAers, it still isn't easy. Even for myself, I sit here and talk into this microphone to you about these things. And at the same time, I'm still learning. I'm still putting pieces together. I know so much more, of course, than I did when I was that mom who just expected to find a silver bullet. Though, if you have one, I'm open. Back then, though, I would have done anything if someone would just have told me the steps. I so wanted to fix it for my child, for sure, but also for me because I was terrified and exhausted, and my health was taking a hit. I have dysautonomia, I have POTS syndrome, and it is triggered by stress. That's one of the triggers. And I was under so much stress that I was having symptoms of heart attacks constantly because of what was going on in my autonomic nervous system. And it was just, I felt so out of control. And at the same time, I felt like I was doing everything wrong and I was just done with it. But now I'm able to see it differently. So it is possible. I get that I need to understand what helps them feel safe and what helps me feel safe as well. And I still do need to remind myself sometimes to stay in my own lane. And that's a hard thing to do too, right? Because it's not mine. And I can tell you that looking through this lens, it also gives me more power. I don't feel completely helpless. And feeling helpless is very frustrating and painful. There's so much suffering there. Now, of course, I don't have power over my child, my children, right? We don't have power over another person, only ourselves. But I do have the power to provide cues of safety that come from myself, both in relationship and then in other ways that I can control it, like maybe, for instance, the environment in my home. There are some things that I can control the safety cues, or I can try to bring more of them. Because when I focus on safety, that's when connection follows, and connection is healing. So when I start feeling really stressed out and, I could feel like my chest gets really tight and I feel a little short of breath, and that's when I know like I'm dysregulated. When that happens, I know that I need to pause and get curious. Like, what isn't feeling safe right now? And how can I bring some safety back in for myself? Am I getting enmeshed in my child's problems and trying to control something that isn't mine? Maybe I can take a step back and simply be with them. Just be with them with a regulated nervous system that they can borrow because they can't get a hold of theirs. Again, I get that this is hard. And this is the type of work that I often help my clients with because this is a skill that you're building. It's a process of unlearning the old way and relearning the new way. Just the other day, I found myself starting to get stuck in that loop again. It is so ingrained in the neural pathways of our brains due to all that past conditioning and our memories. So when we get stressed out, those old pathways love to just light back up again. Those were very ingrained pathways, and our brains love to conserve energy. So they are going to go in times of stress into the neural pathway that has the least resistance. That's why we work so hard to ingrain these new pathways in our brains to make them stronger and stronger so that while the traditional behavioral pathways, those will never completely disappear, but to become stronger. So those are the ones that our brains are going to go to in impulsive times of reactivity. So that one day when my daughter shut down over a very small request, I think it was to make a phone call, maybe, that voice showed up in my head again. But this time I just took a breath and it passed. If you've ever been stuck in fix-it mode, please know this. That voice is just fear trying to help. It's saying to you, do something because it's terrified that you're going to fail the person that you love the most. But you don't have to fix them. Just need to keep remembering that. You just have to stay curious and keep learning and build safety wherever you can, because that's what changes everything. So maybe this week when that voice shows up, it probably will if you're anything like me, that one that says, you should know how to fix this, try whispering back, that's the work, that's the shift, and it's enough. I know how powerful and how hard this shift can be. I really do. I've been working on this for years. And it's one thing to understand it and another to actually live it every day in these real moments with our children. So if you've been wanting a little more support as you practice this, maybe a space to keep learning and feel seen and not to feel isolated or like you're doing it alone, I have something special coming in January that would be a perfect fit for you. It's called Raising Kids with Big Baffling Behaviors, the Parent Course. It was developed by Robin Goebel. And if you don't know Robin, if you haven't checked her out, please do so. She has an amazing book and podcast by that same name. But the course was developed by Robin and adapted for PDA parents and led by me. So this 12-week experience is going to bring together Robin's framework and my lived experience and understanding of PDA. And each week you're going to get one short educational video to watch on your own time. And then at the end of the week, we'll have a small group live session, and it will be, I mean, small. So there will be one-on-one attention, maybe 6 to 8 people in the group. And that's going to be a time for discussion, reflection, questions, answers, and any kind of coaching that you might need. And this round, I'm so excited. This round is going to include a bonus session with my friend and colleague, Danielle Rhoda, who is a specialist in unschooling and homeschooling and does work primarily with PDA kids. So we're going to be talking about that subject with Danielle and discussing how to lower pressure and rebuild trust and how to make learning feel safe again. This course begins right after the holidays, and there's a reason for that, because if you are anything like me, that is the time of year when we are craving a reset. We've been through a hard time. Those holiday months are difficult for our families, and we need some grounded support. So you can join the wait list through the link in the show notes, and I do hope that you will consider joining us because I'd love to walk alongside you in this next season. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode resonated, please share it with another parent who might need to hear that they don't need to fix everything. They just have to start where they are. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next, and check the show notes for more information about the January course, the bonus session with Danielle, and while you're at it, take a deep breath. You're doing better than you think. I'll see you next time.